When you sign a publishing deal, there is a thing called a Schedule A where you have to like write all of the songs that you've ever written down with the date, with the co-writer. You need to send in the lyric and the audio. And I was going through a time. I was like, oh my God, I thought I was organized, but like I had to go through. No, I had to go through like Google Docs and like voice notes and like cross my fingers I wasn't forgetting songs, because like now if like an artist goes, hey Lydia, I'm cutting this song we wrote in 2020. Well, my publisher just goes on my Schedule A, takes the song with the credits and takes the date. But like sometimes I'll get a random email being like, hey girl, I can't find this song on your schedule. Like, when did you write this? And it's like,
beats me.
I'm like, I don't know, you tell me.
And welcome to another episode of On The Porch with Front Porch Music with me, Logan Miller, and Jenna Weiser. Again, this week it's just me, Logan, for the introduction. And this week we had a conversation with Canadian country artist Lydia Sutherland. And we talked a lot about what it's like being a songwriter, what the process is. Lydia has become one of the most sought after songwriters in country music in Canada. And we talk a lot about that. And she even shows us why she has become such a huge songwriter. Enjoy our conversation with Lydia Sutherland.
We are sitting here with Lydia Sutherland. How are you doing, Lydia?
I'm great, aside from our casual tech issues.
Always a tech issue.
Always.
What's the weather like where you are today? Because we've got gloomy rain and probably 10 degrees.
Gloomy rain and like 15 degrees. It's not, Nashville right now is in a weird state.
That's a loaded statement.
Yeah, weird state times two.
Yeah.
That's a loaded statement.
T.
Well, thanks for joining us. Who's that picture behind you?
Reba.
I thought it was Reba. Lydia.
This is like my Facebook Marketplace find of the year. I also got another one that's Dolly Parton, and it's over my piano. I'm
on the hunt for a vintage, like classic Reba t-shirt.
Oh my God. They're so hard to find.
I know.
Like the good, like classic vintage tees. But I will say, if you're ever in Calgary, HG Vintage, this is not a brand deal. HG Vintage is incredible. Incredible. I got this
page?
there. They do. Yeah. They're amazing.
I love everything Reba. She's the reason why I became a country fan, which is a strange first introduction to country, because she's pretty country, but love
Reba. I would say like Reba, Dolly, and like Patsy Cline were like the first three. Ooh. And Johnny Cash. They were like the first artists I think I remember hearing when I was like 4 years old.
Going
like
classic.
That's all my grandparents would play. Oh yeah, so good.
For me, my introduction was Reba and also Sugarland.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
That's what converted me.
I don't think I have an intro because I lived in the middle of nowhere, and I say this all the time, but we had like 2 radio stations, and it was like...
Country or country?
No, it was country or like heavy rock. And I was like, well, I'm 6 and I'm not angsty yet, so I'm going to go with the country.
Fair. Yeah, the heavy rock is an experience.
Weird transition, but kind of related that I wanted to cover anyways. Growing up, you're from Montreal.
Yeah.
Growing up there probably wasn't a whole lot of country at that time out and about. Where did that come from?
You'd be surprised. So Montreal, there's a huge like French country music scene. Huh. Like so many, it's an actual thing. Like CCMA's French version is a thing there, like a big award show. So I grew up like listening to these like classic French country singers, which is kind of crazy. Like René Martel would be one of them, and then Paul Darèche would be another one. You wouldn't even know who they are unless you're like French, pretty much. But they're really big.
It's really interesting, like that. Like the Quebec has like its own like celebrity system. Like it's like like Marie-May. Like they have like absolute like huge artists.
Are you famous in Quebec?
Yeah, are you famous in Quebec?
No, I don't think so. Being famous in Quebec is a hard thing. I think it's harder being famous there than it is like anywhere else. Huh. It's weird. It's a hard scene to break in because it's so small, and I feel like it's kind of guarded too, where it's like if you don't sing in French, you kind of are not in the scene, which is fair. Like Jenna knows, but I have a French EP out, and that was like my first intro to like the music industry, where I felt like I had to do it because I am from there and I live there. And like now listening back, it's fine. Like I don't enjoy it. I wouldn't like, pick it as my morning playlist like Jenna would, but
I know. we were listening to it this morning, like before, like
so peaceful.
I hate that.
Before we listen to or like talk to artists, we generally will listen to like their playlist and just put it on in the background while we're doing stuff. And we were like, oh, this is such a vibe.
This is so calming. And then I was like, well, I don't understand a word of what you're saying because I don't speak any French. So like, I have no idea. You could be singing the saddest thing ever. And I was like,
I translated for her. It's okay.
It's interesting. Like that EP, the way it was recorded, I was so new to the industry. I didn't even know what I was doing. I had like this mentor at the time who was kind of like guiding me through the steps of like, oh, you must record an EP. Oh, you must do like an EP premiere. And then this is how you put it on Spotify. Like I didn't even release a single. I released the whole thing at once. And I like printed out physical copies and I was like, buy my album, please. And like, it was such a weird process, but that whole EP is like live off the floor. There's like no producer on it or anything. It's like the musicians decided what they were doing on the spot. And my vocal takes are one takes as well.
Well, that's kind of cool.
It's cool, but it's so uncommon. Like, I don't even know why that's out.
Do you have any physical copies left? And can I have one?
100% we'll send you one.
Play it on?
In my car.
Oh, okay.
I have a CD player in my car.
I love that. I still love the CD players, honestly. I miss them. You have one?
Where do you listen to?
I had like the little, what is it called? I'm so French. The little thing like with the...
Like a Discman?
Like yeah.
Okay, I still have one of those.
I'm sure I do somewhere. I don't know where.
I threw mine out because it stopped working, but my grandma has one still. So I was like, I might need to borrow this.
Such a vibe though. Like on a walk, hits different.
Yeah. Hits your hip every time walking. And it's smashing around your pocket.
And every time it does, it skips.
Yeah, really humbles a gal.
That's funny. Wow. Okay, so you put this EP out. You had no clue what was going on, eh? You were just like, okay, I will do what you tell me.
Yeah, I just hoped people would listen, which honestly for a first EP, like it did well enough. Like it it did good for what it was. And like I think something that helped it, like I also did La Voix in Quebec, which is the equivalent to the Voice in Canada. This is La Voix. And so I did that at the time where the EP came out. So like I remember doing like the EP premiere at downtown Montreal. And then the next morning at like 6 a.m. I had my blind audition. So it was like such a weird, 6
a.m.
Yeah, they had
to know that it's 2 days all involved with this.
I know. Well, yeah. And our whole families too, like, it's the whole like shebang where my mom, my aunt, my uncle was there, my best friend at the time. And like everyone was there and they filmed this over 2 days. So like the first day was like interviews and like just sitting around. And then the next day was like the blind audition, but so anxiety inducing. Yeah, it was horrible. Like, it's like leading up to this thing where like, you have no idea, like you just don't know. It was a really weird experience. Did make me grow though, like quite a lot. But from then on, like it just like kept unraveling. And that's how I got to where I am today. Like it hasn't stopped since. So it is a good thing I put it out, I guess.
How far did you make it in La Voix?
To the dual rounds.
Cool.
Dual rounds. Okay.
What's the biggest takeaway that you got from La Voix?
Trust yourself before you trust men in suits. Yeah, that's the T. Just like a lot of people have opinions and you tend to like trust higher up people's opinions better because they have been there before, but you know in your gut what's best for you, so don't be scared to say no.
That's great advice.
And on that
and on that, we want names. No, I'm kidding.
Spill.
I mean,
sister.
Okay.
Spicy.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So like the first time I really heard of you was Date a Friend.
Yeah.
And that was, I think you were iHeart future star with that song, right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, and you had put out a song before that. I was also still a little bit new to the country industry too. But so how did you go from this cute little, in my opinion, cute EP of French music to Love Me, Date a Friend, and today? Like, where's the transition happen?
I'm not even sure, honestly. Like those like years in between felt like a fever dream. They were like so long, but also went by so fast. I think like I just knew there was something that wasn't authentic about the French stuff I was putting out. I felt like I was doing it for someone else, which 100% I was. And I just always loved like my first language is French, but I've always loved writing in English, and I've always had a like an easier way of expressing myself in English as well. So I was like still writing those songs. But I think it's when I started like Zoom writing over the pandemic where like my manager at the time, I was just like, hey, like I want to write more. I want to expand. Like, I want to be better at writing. So I was like, do you know anyone who would want to write with me? And I was like, just this random little girl who had like a French EP out. She was like, let me think on that. And then the first person she introduced me to was Aaron Pollock, who's now my lovely boyfriend, but he started off as my co-writer. And like as soon as I started writing with him, I feel like that like kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone and like made me want to be a better writer, and also kind of like shaped me as an artist. Like I've always been a songwriter first, and I still stand by this to this day. Like I love writing songs for others, and end goal is that. But it was cool like seeing the difference between the songs that like I could let go and see other people cut, and then the songs that were to me to let go. So it was like that's kind of where the transition was, I think.
Interesting. And I mean, like we chatted a few weeks ago, and something sat with me that when we were talking about like the songs that you write and writing in country music, and it was, do you know what I'm about to get at? So you can say it yourself, or no?
No.
The things that you're writing about are things you didn't hear. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about that. So I think that's super important.
Well, when I was in high school, I guess I was going through a lot of like shit at home, and I didn't have many friends, and I was kind of like getting bullied, and I don't know, my body was changing, and I was like, I lost like so much weight. I lost over 80 pounds, but I was just in a weird state. And I guess like all of my favorite artists were releasing like breakup songs and like FU men songs and like stuff like that, where like they were cool, and I love those songs still to this day. But I needed to hear a song about like hating my body, or like a father leaving, or like, comparing yourself to other girls and that being normal. Because like I truly believe if I heard those songs when I was younger, I wouldn't be so messed up now, but it's true. Like you have to like normalize those subjects. And I feel like that's kind of what I was missing on country music, because I loved country. Like that was like my thing. And so now like the songs I'm writing, like they don't typically fit in the country box, but I think that's what's cool about them. It's different and it's authentic. I won't like add banjo to a track just to say I'm country. I'll write the song the way it needs to be written, and then production comes later, and that's its own thing, I just want to write stuff that's real to me, and then I think that's how you create a really authentic audience, and you grow. And it's not easy, but that's the kind of music I want to make.
From the songwriting aspect, when you're writing for yourself versus writing for someone else, do you bring that same kind of attitude to like the kinds of things that you write with other people, or how does that work?
I do. I love like pushing people a bit out of their comfort zone. I usually like when I write with an artist, I'll go and listen to the songs they've released up until now. I do think it's really important to like hear the artist out and like, listen to what they want to say. Obviously, it's their stories, right? So I just am of assistance in that situation. But I do like to dig a bit deeper and kind of bring that like quirky side of writing to other people. But I love like writing stuff that they or like suggesting stuff that they wouldn't normally go towards. And I think that's why people like enjoy somewhat writing with me. It depends who you ask, I guess, but why some people like writing with me, it's just because it's not like what they've released before, in some ways being like the concept is a bit weirder. Like one song I really, really love and I'm so proud of to this day is Never Been to California by Mike Whiteside. That song is just so cool to me because it's a small town song. It's about falling in love with a girl in your small town and just, being like, I'm a small town boy. And like, you're like, I've never been to California, but looking at you, it kind of feels like, I'm sitting by Sunset Boulevard and all these things. And it's just like a cool way to like spin an idea we've heard a million times before, but just making it more interesting to the listener.
That's really fascinating because like you have become someone, at least who we hear about a lot from other artists that we talk to about just loving to write with you. And we've never really asked like why, which might sound rude, but
we just go with it.
Yeah, we're like, oh, okay, cool.
I love that.
So like that's really like interesting to hear like your standpoint of writing with somebody else. I love it.
Yeah. One person who has written with you, I think quite a bit previously, had said the first time they wrote with you, they couldn't believe how they just like spit out the idea and you were like writing a song immediately and how fast it came out of you. And I was like,
this has got to be Graham, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Who is it?
But I think he said it too, because then I heard it once and I heard it twice and I was like, okay, how fast can you write a song? Which I'm going to test you on later, obviously.
Yeah, a little foreshadowing.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Well, I think like it's so important too to like listen to the artist. I think being both, to me, like an artist and a songwriter, I pick up on stuff I don't like when I'm the artist in the room. I hate when people like speak over me or try to change my story or try to, make it fit in a box or like try to make me say something I wouldn't normally say. Like, I think it's so important to like listen to the person you're writing for, because in that case, like you're very, very lucky to be the person that they pick in a room. Like there's a million songwriters out there. Like be grateful that they trust you with their stories. So it's important to show them respect in that way. So I think that's very cool. But yeah, I love songwriting. It's my favorite part, honestly.
That's so interesting. So you recently announced that you signed your first publishing deal, which congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know how that happened. Like my heart flutters every time because all I've ever wanted to be was a songwriter. And it's so hard. Like it's so hard being in the music industry. And there's so many amazing songwriters out there that you feel like so damn lucky when you're the one that's picked, because like it could be anyone. And everyone deserves it. So I'm so grateful. Like I can't even express it. Like I'm so grateful.
How was it going into like your first write as a signed writer to your publisher, being like, okay, I'm here? What was that like?
I was like, hopefully she doesn't think this is shit. Like imagine like the first song I write, like as a signed writer, because like usually like I solo write a lot and I don't post a lot of those songs, and I haven't cut any of those songs yet, which I probably will. So people will get to hear like 100% Lydia Sutherland written songs, but a lot of the songs are like co-written, right? So they're 2 ways, 3 ways, 4 ways. And so like when a publisher signs you, I just wonder what their thought process is. Like, is it like, damn, I hope she's the one who can write on this song, because if you're 4 writers on a song, you don't know who wrote what. So I was just like, damn, I hope she likes this song and she doesn't regret. And she liked it. So all is good. I remain with my publishing deal, but yeah,
it's another day.
Yeah, 100%. It feels very normal though. Not much has changed except for the fact that now I'm paid to write songs, which is lovely.
Salary, thank fudge.
Yeah,
right.
And just the fact that I also have a team like to help me manage my catalog, because like over the pandemic I would write 4 times a day on Zoom, and I wrote over I think it was like 500 songs over the pandemic.
Whew.
So I have a catalog that like I've written over 1,500 songs like up to date. And in that catalog, there's probably like 20% of songs, if we're lucky, that get cut.
Yep.
And then the rest are just sitting there. And it doesn't mean that it's not a good song. It just means that it's a song that the artist either didn't want, or we wrote without an artist in the room, so we need to pitch. And so it's just nice now having people who are like, this song, yes, we need to pitch to blah 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 blah, and like, this is how it's gonna
manage
go.
all of that, like a giant catalog like that? Is it just like spreadsheets?
Kind of.
No doubt.
I should keep a spreadsheet though. Well, I kind of am now.
As you said that, I organized it in my head. I was like, date, song, co-writers, link to the audio. Like, that would have been so.
She makes it sound easy.
I'm like, still not done.
Like, if you started it right away, it would have been like, here, take this big spreadsheet.
Yeah.
1,500 lines.
I know. And I'm still not done sending like all of my audio in. That's where I'm at. So anyways, being super candid.
I bet. If you're Lydia's boss, she's not sorry. She's just
busy.
Scared.
Sorry. That's funny. So one more thing while we're on it. What would you say is like your strength? Are you like the lyricist in the room almost always? Are you like really good with a melody? Can you like flex between those things depending on who else is in the room and what their strengths are?
I usually try to be like what the room needs, honestly. I think that's my strength. Like, I'll go wherever we're missing. My like favorite part though, I love top lining. So I love melody and I love lyric as well. But I think my strength is definitely like melody and then concept. I love concepts. My brain goes weird places because of my trauma. So I'm like, ooh, I don't look like your exes. How can we spin this concept? So I just like love coming up with ideas I haven't heard before. It comes back to that. So I like to do whatever the room needs, but I would say like my favorite part are probably those two things.
Nice. When you're releasing these songs that are obviously super personal to you, is there a moment or many moments where you're like, fuck, I don't want anybody to hear this actually? And then it's like, out it goes.
Oh, 100%. I'm like, Look Like Your Exes was the scariest song to release ever, because like, it's literally like, no matter how much you love me or how good the sex is. I was like, what are my boyfriend's parents going to think about this? It's like so scary though. And it's not even like to like the fans or the general public. It's more so to like my friends, my family, like people once they listen to this. Know. Yeah. And like my next single, Dressing Room, it's coming out May 12th, pre-save everywhere now. Anyways, but that one is like something, it speaks on, body dysmorphia and my eating disorders and, my weight loss and all of those things. And that's not even things I've talked about with my family. Like, my mom knows. Aside from that, no one else does. My friends didn't know about it for the longest time. They saw me losing weight and they would say, congratulations, and it wasn't in a positive context, but how are they supposed to know, So now that like song is coming out, I'm just like, shit, like you're really laying it all out and hoping people don't judge you kind of thing. But also someone's got to say it for people to start talking about it. That's how I see it.
I was going to say that like, that's what makes a song resonate with people.
And don't you think about the girl who was like your age when you were standing in that dressing room, like who's hearing it now being like, I can take a breath. Like, it's not just me. Like, it's all of us.
I think that's the coolest thing though. Like, that's my favorite part about being an artist, is like being what I needed growing up. Like, I am still dealing with so many things, like as we all are, but like I feel like a lot of artists don't talk about it. It's kind of like normalized a bit more now, but on country music, I feel like there's still like some kind of like filter towards it where it's like, oh, here's a song about my breakup. Like Kelsey just did it so well though. She just was like, here is an album about my divorce and how I hated myself for a little bit. And I was like, shit, like this is the content I need as like a consumer. Like, I need to hear stuff that makes me feel like I'm normal, like, because we are all going through the same kind of thing. So that's kind of how I see it. And I think that's like, it's resonating with people, like, especially a song like Dressing Room. Like, I see the comments on TikTok being like, thank you for writing this. And I'm like, you're welcome. Like, thank you for like thanking me. I don't know. It's like just so so weird. Like I talked about this with my therapist and she's like, like someone has to go through it to help others through it. And I'm like, why me? But then at the end of the day,
But also you're welcome.
yeah, the world's greatest gift. No, I'm kidding.
That's going to be the title of this episode. Lydia Sutherland, the world's greatest gift.
You quote me on that? I can't. Anyways, but like someone has to say it. So I'm just, it is scary, but at the end of the day, it's very rewarding.
Definitely.
You're right. I've noticed like in the country space since the pandemic that the topics and like the general like messages in songs are changing a bit and I think that's so important, but I'm noticing that mostly from like the female perspective. Like we still need some dudes to have like the same kind of vulnerability.
Speak up.
Yeah.
Speak up.
Me growing up could have used that as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think now we're to a point in the industry where like it's okay for guys to talk about their feelings. I think it is so fucked up that like there was like a wall there where it was like, oh, you must like to fish and drive trucks, and if you don't, and if you cry, you are not a man. And it's like, no, like actually, like please, let's normalize all kind of conversations, and like all kind of feelings are valid, like literally. So I'm very excited for like, I know like a couple of my like friends, Aaron being one of them, like he has a few songs coming out that are very, very, very vulnerable that I haven't heard on country music before. So I'm very excited to be a part of those.
Can't wait to hear those.
Yeah. Okay, let's spin the dial a little bit. You've got some pretty cool things going on this summer. You're playing at Lasso Music Festival, which is really cool. Are you excited?
Hometown show.
Literally.
I know. I'm like kind of going crazy about that because I'm like, oh my God, I play the same day as Stapleton and I'm such a fangirl. It's actually scary. Like if I see him, I will scream. Like I will backstage.
You mean
when? I 100% will.
Playing the same day.
When? I hope I don't for his sake. I'll literally be like, Mr. Stapleton.
We'll warn his security.
Literally.
Watch out for that Linda girl.
That Linda girl is coming in strong. But yeah, I'm so excited about Lasso. I have so many friends and family that are coming out to see me play. And since I have been songwriting for so long and I've barely done any shows, like this will be like a lot of like people's first time seeing me live. So
true.
It's going to be kind of fun.
And it's a big festival now. This like year two, but it's a big fest.
But like who better to perform for than people you love?
And Chris Stapleton.
I know. And Mr. Stapleton.
This one's for you, Chris.
Everyone's like, who? But yeah, I'm stoked on that one. It's going to be very, very fun.
Do you have other big shows like that this summer? Or is it just Lasso that's your like?
I have in July I'm opening up for John Party in Winnipeg.
Yep.
So that's going to be pretty crazy too. I'm bringing my best pair of bedazzled cowboy boots for that.
Obviously.
100%. But I'm very, very excited about that. And we're still like in talks for a few other things, but I think they're mostly going to be like around Nashville for CMA Fest and stuff like that.
True. And you just got home like a couple of days ago from a little songwriter tour you did across Canada, or most of the way, right? Yeah. How was that?
It was so fun. It was like a company that hired us to like pretty much just go play shows for their clients. And it was so much fun. Like it felt like a fever dream. It was my first like kind of like tour experience. So there was like very little sleep involved, many flights. And for someone who does not like flying, that was a challenge. So scary.
Were you sedated for most of it?
Honestly, I think the lack of sleep did help me get on those flights. But yeah, it was so much fun. And I played it with Kyle McCurney, who like I'm his like literal biggest fan. Aaron and I love Kyle, and then Aaron as well. So it was really cool, really chill, honestly. So fun.
That is lovely. Are you happy to be home in your own bed though?
Yes, I'm very happy to be home. I like had like publisher anxiety where I like missed my publisher so much. Like she's my friend at this point. So like I was like, I haven't seen Cindy in 2 weeks. And like so I'm just like very happy to be back home and back. Like my mom's actually visiting right now too. So she's in town for like a week and then I get back to my normal writing schedule. But yeah, I'm happy to be back.
Oh my gosh, what's your mom think of your whirlwind life?
She is like the most supportive ever. Like she had no doubts that this would happen, which is crazy because even I had doubts, but she has been like my biggest fan forever. So she is stoked for me.
I love that. That's like my mom. She's like, you can do anything. And I'm like,
Can I?
She doesn't know me very well then.
sister. It's so funny.
That is funny.
I'll tell her something that I did or like accomplished, got, received, whatever. She's like, of course you did. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Thanks,
You're
Mom.
Right. Yeah. No surprise, no shock at all.
We do need that though. The support is real from moms.
Truly.
Yeah.
Okay, last thing I think we want to touch on before we
play a game
is top of the country. So you're a semifinalist in the top of the country competition.
Congratulations.
Thank
How fun
you.
has that been so far? Other than the really cute outfit you got to acquire for that.
Oh my God, it's been the best. It's actually quite surreal because like I remember like I'm so new to the country industry, I guess, or the country scene. Like my first CCMAs were 2 years ago. Were they in London?
Those were your first CCMAs? Mine
Those
too.
were my first.
That's
so fun.
Yeah.
And we met there too.
Yeah.
That's true. I remember this. But yeah, so those were my first CCMAs and the first event I went out to, and I did not know anything or like I was starting to know quite a lot of people because of the songwriting Zoom thing over the pandemic. And that was the first one after, but I didn't understand the events. But the first event I went to was actually the top of the country thing. And I got to see like my friend Kelly Prescott play and Tyler Joe. And that was like the first thing I remember. And it was the best night, honestly. So it's like very, very full circle that like now is it 2 years later, like I'm kind of in that position where like I'm able to, share that platform with so many incredible, like the top 8 this year is just incredible. I love everyone in that lineup. So it's an honor. It's very cool.
So what have you done so far? You found out you were selected, which is great. And then you flew somewhere to do something.
Yes. So I flew to Toronto to record a song, which is, am I supposed to say? I don't know. I'm saying it. A dressing room. Okay. So it's the voting period is the next thing basically, and that comes out next Monday, I believe. So everyone's going to be able to hear my next single like in advance before the release, which is going to be cool. But yeah, we recorded like a stripped down version of it. So that's the next step.
Right on. Well, we'll be sharing obviously and getting everybody to head to the voting page. You have to vote every day, right? You can vote every day, I think.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
One time a day. Yep.
Right on. Have you already prepared your family? Like, listen, we got work to do.
Yeah, I've lined up the troops.
Good for you.
That's the best.
My mom's coming in strong.
Absolutely. Does she have your grandparents on standby too? Like, this is the website. All you have to do is press vote, click on her. Don't click on anybody else.
We'll see if it happens, we'll see. I'm just happy if they vote in general. It can be for anyone. If they make it to the voting little thing, I'm like, go off. You're doing great.
Seriously. Are your grandparents like good with technology or no?
They like spend a lot of time on their computers. They were like, is Farmville still a thing on Facebook? They play Farmville all the time.
Honestly, who knows?
I don't know. They're doing something on those computers. They might be working for like the CIA. I don't know. But yeah,
you never know.
They're actually quite good.
They know how to vote. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
My grandma has an iPhone 14.
Whoa. Even I don't have an iPhone 14.
That's queen shit, right? Her iPad. She's good to go.
Yeah. I love that for her.
11 loves technology.
Evelyn knows tech.
No, she doesn't. She'll call me and be like, I can't see it. What did I do? I'm like, oh my God. Woman. Anyways, needless to say, you've had a huge, probably a whirlwind, like at least 12 months, but you haven't been able to slow down since basically Le Voix. So it's been a crazy few years for you, and that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm very, very grateful to everyone and everything happening right now.
Your biggest moment of pressure is yet to come.
Well, it's right now.
Oh, it's right now, actually.
I'm scared. I'm honestly terrified.
Stop.
We are, we talked about how you have a reputation of just being able to spill out lyrics.
Yes.
So we have decided to put a little game together. Jenna, do you want to explain?
You already consented. Let's be clear on that. You consented ahead of time.
I did. This is true.
And if you're hearing this right now, it wasn't cut, so it worked out.
Yeah. We said we would cut it if it didn't go well. So here we are. We are going to give you 3 words. and you
Yeah.
can you're gonna give us a verse in response. How much time should we give her?
Okay.
How much time do you think you need to work that?
I'll probably just do it on the spot.
All right. We'll give you 2 options. 2 word lists to
Okay.
choose from. It's either
Okay.
Monopoly, gather, car,
Okay.
or chair, outside, betray.
Oh my God. That's so random.
Looked around the room really.
Okay, I'll do the first one.
Okay.
I'll do the
Okay.
Monopoly one.
Monopoly,
Um,
gather, chair.
Car.
Wait,
Oh,
car.
sorry.
I like wrote the verse in my head and I'm like, you are a liar. That is not the word.
I wrote the verse in my head. We've been talking about this for 30 seconds.
Monopoly, gather, car.
Okay. Give me a sec here. I'm like processing because I feel like this could be like a really good, like trendy pop song. You
That's
know?
fine too.
Go for it.
Baby, we can get together and play Monopoly. Then jump in your car. Just don't break my heart, and we can leave. Monopoly. Just don't play me like Monopoly. That's like a Chainsmoker song.
That's awesome. That's so fun.
It's not actually, but anyways,
That's so fun.
we can. It kind of be cool.
Let's workshop it.
We'll work. Yeah. To be continued.
We'll shop it around, see who wants to cut it, and then we'll
Yeah.
consider.
What would the title be?
Monopoly.
Monopoly, duh. That's what I was gonna
Like
say.
the hook would be like, just don't play me like you'd play Monopoly. So I'd be like, don't play games with me like you'd
Yeah,
play
I
love
Monopoly.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
I knew
it's
that
actually
was
kind of
gonna
good.
That is kind of good, yeah.
You both are like, this is the worst thing I've ever heard.
Nah. It's better than we could do. Hey Jenna, you try.
I thought we were gonna be sitting here for a couple. I expected we sat for a couple minutes, and you're like, "Okay, I got this," and you were like, I got this in my head. We're good to go."
Yeah,
That's funny.
I feel like it's a good base. Like you can usually like the first feeling you get towards words. This is how I write. I will voice note and I'll just spill a verse out. And sometimes it'll be just like, baby, play me. Like, and you fill the gaps, you know?
Wow, firsthand, we just
It
learned how
works.
you work.
Yeah.
Bravo.
We're gonna put Jenna on the spot later and try it on
Merci.
Instagram Live.
We should do this on Instagram. Last night we went live with Tegan Gaze, and we tried some absolutely disgusting food. We should go on
The
live
stuff
and test you.
she will like, yeah, 100%. That would be fun. I do have to say the food that Tegan tries
Repulsive.
keeps
We're
me on
still
the edge of my
tasting onions from last
the other
night.
day. That
We
is
tried-
horrible.
We tried
Canceled.
onions and peanut butter on a sandwich. I almost
And
threw it up.
did she like it?
She ate the whole thing.
Of course she did. I feel like I'm just not surprised at this point.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
Well, Lydia, thank you so much for joining us, and everyone, be sure to watch out for Monopoly coming out soon.
Just kidding. Watch out.
Now
for
at
the dressing
DSP.
room.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yes,
Dressing
thank
room
you
coming
guys
out
for
soon.
having me.
We'll talk to you
Oh,
soon.
this is amazing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of On the Porch with Front Porch Music. We're so lucky to be able to chat with artists and make episodes like this one. If you like the podcast, remember to rate and review us, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. It's the easiest way to support the show. Remember to check out frontporchmusic.ca to keep up with new music releases, exclusive artist interviews, and more. We'll catch you again on the porch in a couple of weeks. On the Porch is hosted by Logan Miller and Jenna Weiser, and produced and edited by Jason Saunders. That's me. Our theme song was written, produced, and performed by Owen Wrigley.